Good afternoon. I'm Saad Al-Aziz, the owner and head instructor of Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, Texas, and here to tackle this week's question of the week. So I got a question. I don't know if it was, I don't think it was from one of my students. It was just somebody in the YouTube world. The funny thing about this page is I started it, for my students, but it's like now I'm getting questions from other people from other places, and that's cool. I don't mind answering the questions. It's like if you got a question, fire it away. Good to go, whether you train with me or you train someplace else. This week's question came from a person that they was interested in starting a jiu-jitsu journey, and they wanted to know my thoughts on whether they should select a school that has intro classes or beginner classes, and they separate the beginners from the advanced. And I thought it was an interesting question. The only reason I knew it probably is not one of my students, because at my school, I don't have a basic or a fundamentals class. All my classes are white belt to black belt. I put them all together, and because my view of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is there's no basic technique or no advanced technique. It's just all Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So I train all my students together. But there's other schools, they have different philosophies, and I'm not here to say they're wrong. Teaching is an ever-evolving skill set. Like, you go through your journey and you're going to figure out different ways to teach, and you're constantly striving to teach more effectively. So, for instance, I remember years ago, I think I was a purple belt. I happened to be in New York, in Manhattan, and I was like, man, I'm going to stop at the Renzo Gracie Academy and, train with Renzo. And Renzo Gracie is like much better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teacher than I will ever be. And so when you go to his school, for instance, he has, or at least, like when I visited 12 years ago, he has his classes set up like there was a blue belt only class, a white belt only class, a purple belt only class, a brown belt only class, and like he breaks it up into belts. And I didn't get a chance to ask Renzo, why specifically he did it that way, but so like when I went to the purple belt class, everybody in class was a purple belt, and it was a great learning experience for me. So that is definitely an effective way to do it. And if you have that kind of student population, it's definitely not wrong, and it works for Renzo, and he's created like some of the best jiu-jitsu teachers and fighters in the world. Like, he's phenomenal. So that could be the right answer. I've gone to other schools, that do have a basic class, and they have an advanced class, and then they have a separate class just for competitors. And like that could be good. What I would suggest for the person who had asked the question is if you're looking for a school and you want to start jiu-jitsu, see if they offer a free trial classes. Like for me, I offer a 14-day free trial for everybody that comes in. It's like, okay, for 14 days, come in, figure out if you like jiu-jitsu or if you like training jiu-jitsu with me, and it's free. And if you don't like it, you don't owe me a dime. And if you do like it, then you go on, start paying month to month, because I don't do contracts. Other schools, they may not be as generous with a 14-day trial, but I've seen schools that go up to a 30-day free trial. Other schools, may just do a 1 or 2 day, free trial. So if they offer a free trial, I would recommend going to the free trial and seeing if, like this is a good fit for you. Whether you participate in that class or sometimes maybe just sitting and watching the class and seeing like, hey, I've never tried jiu-jitsu and I'm watching how they're doing it, and I think this is something I could do. So like if I was starting my jiu-jitsu journey again, I would say, man, I would sit and watch the class first before I jumped in. Because watching is, you feel pretty safe watching. You're like, I'm not risking anything. I can get up at any time and leave. Let me watch and see if this is something I want to do. And then you sort of know, like, okay, when I go to participate in class, this is exactly how they do the class, and I can do that. So try that out and then see if that fits you. But there's I would say, no one best way of teaching Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. or teaching anything, whether it's, you're talking about elementary school, middle school, high school, college. Each instructor is going to have their own views and their own ways of doing things. And so my view in my classes, the reason I don't have a basic or a fundamental class or an intro class is because I think jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. Whether you're doing the closed guard, which is more of a basic fundamental move, or you're doing say a De La Riva guard, I still think that's basic fundamental jiu-jitsu and not something that's, you should only be exposed to at a certain belt. It's like, no, I'm absolutely fine with a person on their very first day coming in and on their very first class, if I happen to be teaching De La Riva guard, that they learn the De La Riva guard. Or, it's like, okay, this is what you're going to learn today, and this is where you'll start. And then you go through your journey. Other people have different, philosophies where they'll say, okay, no, the very first guard you should learn is the closed guard. And, so maybe they have a basic or fundamental class and they separate it like that. And that's cool too. The reason I like all my belts in the class is because I pair white belts, with blue belts or purple belts. So if you're a new person and I got a brown belt in class, it's like, I'm going to pair you with the brown belt, because now you watch my instruction as I teach the technique, and then the brown belt or the purple belt or the blue belt, that is your training partner, they can help fine-tune that instruction with you as you drill it and help guide you through that process. So I think it's very beneficial for white belts and blue belts to train through the techniques with purple belts, brown belts, and black belts. And so I don't separate the belts. I don't separate beginner from advanced. But if another school does, I'm definitely not saying it's wrong. It may be right, and it's what's right for the student, because each student isn't going to learn the exact same way. So check out the different schools in your area. See if you can sit in and watch the class, and see if there's a free trial class, whether it's one day or 14 days or 30 days, and try that out, and see which teaching style fits you best. So that's my philosophy. That's the answer to this week's question of the week. If you got a question for next week, feel free to fire below, or when you see me in class or any other of our social media things, you can fire your question away, and I'll give you my best answer. All right, thanks. Ciao.